Hi there, welcome to I Alone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Pisces energy. And, oh my, we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because, you know, people have learned different lessons than some other people. And some people have, you know, we all have our more shadowy nature, which is our pride and our ego and our fear and our insecurity and our codependency and our laziness and our self-centeredness. And, you know, some people kind of work through some of those aspects, and they could be a very loving, nurturing person who has hope and faith and belief and love and in themselves and in others, and they offer love and encouragement to others, and they're being authentic. And some people are still in the process of making the free will choices in their life to decide if they want to be that type of person or not. And we've all been there, so we can relate when people are more immature, more fearful, more defensive, more hiding behind their ego, more caught up in things of the world that they want to indulge in that they think will make them happy. But we kind of like to be in relationships with people who are kind of on the same page as us, and eventually we might be willing to see that we're kind of on different pages with some different people, and we can wish them peace, but we might not want to keep investing in them. So kind of view this card as the overarching reason for the reading, which is the Queen of Wands. And the way I read tarot is that the feminine figures talk about how we think and feel, and the masculine energies can represent the action that we're taking in the world or how we're presenting ourselves in the world. But people can present themselves in the world any way they want. I view Pisces as the Knight of Cups. Anybody can try to present themselves as a loving person who has hope and faith and belief in love, but in shadowy Queen of Wands, which I view as Leo energy, it could be more operating from their ego, lust, greed, pride, wanting to indulge in a relationship, more about the ego or the image. You know, what is the purpose? Are they being, high vibe Leo would be being authentic. They are who they say they are, but, you know, sometimes that's not the case. And then after that is the Ace of Wands. Everybody can want to have new beginnings, get a new job, new friendship, new relationship, but why? So let's go see. We start out with a card not showing itself, and the reason that card came out is because of the Two of Pentacles. So the Two of Pentacles can be that we're either trying to maintain balance within ourselves, and we could have had to pick up our investment in something else at some point in time in our life. And so we're kind of deciding where we want to move forward next and who we want to move forward with. And so if we already are kind of move forward in something, a new job, new friendship, new relationship, we could be trying to maintain balance in that relationship. But with some of the people in our life, we harness this energy differently, and we might not know it. Oh, the Nine of Cups in reverse, which I view as Pisces energy. Well, some people aren't more independent, and some people are. Some people are very much not independent, because in the upright, I view the Nine of Cups as being more independent. And when a card is in reverse, it can mean the extreme opposite of that, that they're very much not independent. And I also view kind of the Nine of Cups as learning to love yourself, to maintain balance within yourself. We all have our more immature, shadowy nature that kind of wants us to go take more impulsive, self-indulgent action in our life. And some people are like, no, I reject indulging my more worldly nature. The Two of Pentacles is Capricorn energy. And I'm maintaining balance within myself not to indulge my more worldly nature, because I've learned that if I do kind of indulge my more worldly nature, in my fear, insecurity, lust, and greed, I'm probably going to drive my life off into the ditch. And I'd be acting from pride and ego or fear or something. So I'm going to maintain balance within myself. And then I also want to be in relationships with other people who aren't more self-indulgent, who aren't more maybe wanting to just get in a relationship to feel more balanced within themselves. There's a lot of different reasons why people can get in a relationship with people. We want other people to be balanced within themselves. Can we be friends with people and people be friends with us when we feel more out of balance? Sure. Are we going to get maybe in a more involved relationship, like romantically? No, until we feel like they are more balanced, right? And quit indulging their more worldly, egoic nature of those things I mentioned, right? But some people aren't very independent. They could be codependent on the world, other people in their life, their friends, their family, their self-defensive, self-protective nature, or whatever, but they're not emotionally independent. And they could definitely be looking, though, to want to be in a relationship with someone because they could feel kind of unfulfilled within themselves emotionally, not able to find balance within themselves because they haven't learned to. I view high vibe Leo as giving yourself the things that you wish other people would have given you. Leo is also represented by the sun. I choose to align with my more high vibrational nature, offer myself love, compassion, and forgiveness, offer love, compassion, and forgiveness to others, like being a good mother, father, coach voice to myself. And some people haven't learned to do that within themselves. And so then they can look to get in relationships with other people for those people to provide that to them, to help them feel more balanced. But then if they never take responsibility to start to work with that energy within themselves, they could want it to keep staying kind of a more going back and forth type of relationship where they just want you to keep playing that role in their life, maybe. So, what do we have next? The Temperance card, the Five of Swords, the Five of Wands, the Strength card, and the Ace of Cups. And the reason it came out is because of the Eight of Pentacles. So, the Eight of Pentacles is Virgo energy where we want to move forward in something and put work and effort into something, but if we're really going to change, because we have the Five of Swords and the Five of Wands, and the fives can talk about change, we have to learn to balance out, and that's what the Temperance card can talk about in fire sign energy, that I could have these things that I want, and I could have these things that maybe cause me mental conflict, might cause me inner conflict. Change itself might cause me, inner conflict. But if I want to move forward in life differently, for one, high vibe Virgo energy is about doing this inner work within yourself to balance out the fact that in our fire sign energy, we can want to be more about ourselves, be more indulged, be more immature, be more prideful or egotistical or stubborn or whatever. But if we want to do love and we want to move forward with other people also, we need to balance out our fire sign energy of being more about ourselves or more about these things of the world and get more balance within ourselves and our loving nature. And if we want to work together with other people, we have to realize it isn't just about us and us being indulged. The other people that we're going to work with in their own Virgo energy of truth, they have their own unique talent, skills, and interest and dreams, and we have ours. And we need to work together cooperatively. You are your own individual, I am my own individual. We all have our dreams and our aspirations, and if we are going to work together, like to have a new beginning, we all have to be willing to give a little bit, right? The Five of Swords can be that, well, I thought we were going to move forward like this. I thought that was just and fair. And the other person's like, well, I thought we were going to move forward like this because I thought that was just and fair. In our Virgo nature, we have our truth. And if our truth is that we respect each other as individuals, that it's not supposed to be more about us, it's working together, then we all have to have the same truth. which in high vibe would be that we all temper our ego nature to be inspired by love. And sometimes we get more mismatched relationships, and for some people, that's not their truth. In their maybe Capricorn and Virgo nature of self, they're maybe kind of more motivated to be in a relationship for some other reason. Maybe just because they do have mental conflict and inner conflict. I want to be in a relationship with someone. It will make me feel better. It'll make me feel more stable and grounded and balanced. And it's nice to be in relationships with people who are loving. Well, that's great. Have friends who are like that. But sometimes people, they want a more involved relationship. And then sometimes they get more mismatched relationships. And then as they're trying to move forward, they might not realize that one person is more about someone harnessing high vibe Leo, Ace of Cups in their emotional nature, of their Cancer, their Pisces, their Scorpio nature. I could have inner conflict and mental conflict about working through my own mental conflict and inner conflict to feel more balanced within myself, because that would require me to maybe love myself and maybe heal and grow and mature myself in some way where I kind of work through some of my mental conflict and my inner conflict, or maybe my competitive nature, or my defensive nature, or my egoic nature, or these ways of looking at life and how I view others and how I view relationships that I think are just and fair, but maybe other people have a problem with. And, are we willing to deal with the truth? And we're all kind of ready to deal with the truth when we're ready to deal with the truth. And some people still could have a problem with dealing with the truth of maybe kind of how they do juggle the truth. That they could present themselves as being, again, more stable, grounded, balanced, just, fair, loving, mature than they really are. Because maybe in their more worldly, egoic nature, emotionally, they are kind of more inspired to make their life and their way they view life could just be a more worldly view of life, which can be, I want to be in a relationship, you want to be in a relationship, we should be in a relationship, so long as we can get along well enough, so long as it's good for our ego and our image and seems stable and secure. Hey, that's my definition of love and the dream life. And other people could have a little conflict about that, because if they have worked through some of their mental conflict and competitive nature or worldly nature to align with their more hopeful, believing, loving nature, where they really are more authentically themselves in the relationship and tempered their egoic nature and being in a relationship more just to be in a relationship or for these reasons, they want to move forward in a more authentic, loving relationship. And sometimes we can be in relationships with people for a long time because we have a lot of things to work out in a relationship. From the 2 to the 8 is the 6 of Pentacles. And we can work together in the Temperance card. It can talk about being patient with other people, being kind of loving and encouraging to each other. People could have gotten in relationships when they could have been sad with the 9 of Cups in reverse, not feeling happy. Something maybe didn't work out the way that they wanted, kind of trying to maintain balance within themselves. And then we could meet someone with Temperance being fire sign energy. We can be drawn and attracted to certain people for a lot of different reasons. But, one of the big ones is we want a friend, we want a job, we want to be in a relationship. The 6 of Cups is Taurus energy, which can represent all those different institutions of the world. So we're kind of inspired to want to work together with other people. And we can all have some of our own mental conflict, some of our own inner conflict, and maybe by working together with some people, it can help us both work through some of those issues. And we could be in friendships or relationships or a job for quite a long time as that foundation that we're working in, provides us a place to maybe feel more confident within ourselves, in the strength card being Leo energy, which can be about our ego and feeling more comfortable within ourselves, feeling more confident within ourselves. The pentacles and the earth sign energy, feeling more stable and grounded within ourselves. And sometimes, we get in relationships with people because there could be a lot of things kind of in the Six of Pentacles in our philosophy of life, that we have similar ways of kind of viewing the world, similar things that we enjoy investing our time, energy, and effort into. We could have a lot of kind of similar viewpoints that make us kind of compatible, where we are able to work together and maintain kind of balance in a relationship. And during that process, it can be a beneficial thing to both people to feel, again, more grounded and stable. And maybe that's why we were kind of drawn and attracted to them. Maybe that's why they were drawn and attracted to us. But then as time goes by in a relationship and everybody could feel a little more stable and grounded and kind of back on their feet again and ready to move forward in this Ace of Cups, Ace of Wands, we could kind of realize in our Leo energy of self within both of us or the group or whatever it is, that we do kind of have a different truth kind of what drives and motivates us and how we'd like to keep moving forward, like in the next phase of the relationship in a way. And then we have the Page of Pentacles, the Ten of Swords, the Knight of Swords. And the reason is because of the Queen of Wands. Some people could have done some more of this work within themselves, maybe, to be ready. The tens of the Ten of Swords can be, I kind of feel like I've learned what I needed to learn from this phase of life. I think they would offer love and encouragement to the people in their life to move forward with them, but they're kind of ready to detach from an old foundation. We come out with the Page of Pentacles after we feel like in the Ten of Pentacles we've kind of grown something and kind of learned everything we could learn at that phase, and we're ready to come out with that Page of Pentacles to be a student of life, to step out of our comfort zone, in our Queen of Wands energy of Leo energy, to face our fears that, I'm ready to go to that next phase. I'm ready to close out an old cycle. And in the Ten of Swords, when we close out a Ten of Swords, the Knight is holding that sword. I've kind of worked through all the mental confusion, how I kind of could stay at this phase of life. And there could be a lot of things I like about it, because if I keep in this phase and I don't move forward in life differently, well, then I don't have to be more bold and brave and confident. I maybe could keep aligning with a way of viewing life, but it starts to become uncomfortable. It's like we went through these different phases of life when we were age 15 going to 18, 18, 20 to 21, 21 to 25. And if we keep trying to stay at a phase of life, it is like our more creative, inspired, inner, hopeful, believing nature is kind of calling us forward in the Ace of Wands. And then underneath that is the Justice and the Wheel of Fortune and the High Priestess, about to get the justice we deserve. It's to listen to our intuition. It's time to move forward. Our higher self is ready to go to the next phase of life, but we have to be willing in the King of Swords energy to believe that we deserve to go to the next phase of life and get the justice we deserve. And we'd have to stand up for ourselves, maintain balance within ourselves, speak our truth, and then in Pisces energy, listen to our intuition. And then the Tower card beneath that, to listen to our intuition about what needs to be let go of and what things I should take with me, and willing to make that decision in the Judgment card. And then we move forward out of our mental conflict of the Five of Swords because we've gotten to the truth, that I'm ready to move forward in life a little differently. And just like we did that when we were younger, we said, it was great being this certain age, living my life this certain way. But now I'm starting to have mental conflict continuing to live my life that way because, I kind of have learned everything I needed to learn there. And I'm ready to face my fears, to maybe shed an old layer of myself to reveal a new layer of myself. Again, just like leaving 15-year-old ways of being and thinking and viewing yourself, viewing the world, viewing relationships, to shed a new layer of yourself to be more like an 18-year-old and believe in yourself that I can overcome at this next level of life. And I'm inspired to do it, but I have to offer myself love to be willing to close out an old cycle, to be a student of life, to be willing to learn more lessons, to have this new beginning, to get the justice I deserve. What was this card again? Oh, the Wheel of Fortune. Kind of going with the flow of life. It's like the seeds of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil have been planted within us, and it's like the seed of being a child, the seeds of being a teenager, the seeds of being a young adult, the seeds of being a 20-something, the seed of being a 30-year-old, a 40-year-old, a 50, a 60, where you detach from old ways of being to kind of grow to your full potential. Those potentials, that's like our higher self nature. Those seeds are within us, but we have to be willing to learn the lessons we were meant to learn along the way, see what worked, see what didn't, see how our own fear, insecurity, pride, ego, competitive nature, immature nature kind of manipulates us to keep living life a certain way that would stop us from kind of getting the justice we deserve. And then we can have people in our life. We can have people in our life that live their life a certain way. They want us to live our life that way. If they never want to live their life differently, if they're not wanting to step out of their comfort zone and face their fears and stand up for themselves and listen to their intuition, detach from old ways of being willing to hold themselves accountable, or just look at life from of what could be. And some people are like, kind of like here in the Page of Pentacles, like, why would I do that? Why would I stop this? I think this is good. I'm okay. And, the truth is we're all at different stages and we're all on our own journey. And sometimes when some people in our life are ready to move forward in life differently, we weren't ready to move forward. Sometimes when we were ready to move forward, other people weren't ready to move forward. And with a lot of people in our life, we can wish each other peace and love. You go do that. You go. Am I going? No, I'm okay here. And we can still have people in our life that they're going where they're going and we're going where we're going. And, it doesn't matter. It's okay. It's just more difficult and challenging when it was someone that we thought was willing to keep going on that journey with us. And we could be trying to offer love and encouragement for them to work through some of their mental conflict or inner conflict about loving and believing in themselves, or seeing kind of what manipulates them, or how their fear or their ego or the world or other people in their life, or their more codependent nature or their more worldly nature. And of course, if we're in relationships and workplaces where we are we could be tempted by other people, right? Well, life is about making these decisions in our life, and some things we have to let go and not take action towards if we feel we're in workplaces and relationships with people that are willing to work together with us. We feel like we have similar philosophies of life. We're both willing to change. We're inspired by the people we're in relationship with, and we feel they're loving and authentic and encouraging. And, why would we leave that unless we were kind of indulging our more immature worldly nature? And if we see the fact that when we could be tempted by some things with the Ace of Wands, it could be more in our egoic, lustful, greedy nature, that we'd be kind of backstabbing ourselves and the people we're in a relationship with. And so some people aren't going to do that because their primary relationships in their life, like if you're a friend and they're married, their primary relationship is their marriage relationship. Would I kind of like to go with you on this journey you're going on to a degree? Does it kind of seem exciting or whatever? Yes, but you're single and I'm in a relationship, and I feel like the people I'm in a relationship with take priority in my life. And so, you go do what you're going to go do. And then maybe in my own relationship, if I kind of find that kind of inspiring, I might offer love and encouragement to the people I'm in a relationship with, that, I think there's some things that we could go do that would be a little different. And then the people in their life have to decide, if they have inner conflict about that, their fear of change, if they're willing to move forward. And then, they just have to decide for themselves. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a marriage. It can just be people that people hang out with. Well, I love these people. It's like, yes, we can love these people, but do they have a lot of inner conflict about change? Do they want to never step out of their comfort zone to go try new things? Well, if it's just friends and friends and family and things like that, well, do they allow us to be our own individual, to go pursue friendships and relationships with some other people who might want to go pursue some of the things that we would enjoy doing that they don't enjoy doing? And sometimes we have people in our life who don't like that and friends and family members that it's like, well, we don't do that. You shouldn't go do that. And if you go do that, then our friendship is over. It's just like, well, that doesn't seem very just and fair and loving. Well, you're doing something different. I don't like it when people do things that are different. And that's when we kind of feel like some people in our life are trying to manipulate and control us. And, if we don't live our life the way they live it, or kind of more, sometimes you can kind of find out where you feel like you didn't see it initially, and maybe initially they weren't a little bit more about themselves, but over time in relationships, if you're the person who really puts a lot of work and effort to try to maintain balance in a relationship, other people can kind of get spoiled and they're kind of used to you putting in that work and effort to maintain balance in a relationship. And then sometimes those people also kind of think that, well, I don't have to keep putting as much work and effort into it because I think you'll kind of keep, in a way, chasing after me to kind of maintain the relationship, and I can go be more shadowy or bossy or controlling. And that's when you kind of realize, wait a minute, we don't seem to be working cooperatively anymore. And from the 8 down to the 1 pentacle is letting go of the 7 of pentacles, where we kind of start to feel like maybe some other people aren't as invested in continuing to move forward in something. And, that can cause us some mental conflict and some inner conflict because they seem to have closed out a cycle and might want to move forward in life differently. And sometimes we don't know why. And it's confusing. And we could feel a little backstabbed. And same way if you were to move forward in life a little differently and start doing some other things or hanging out a little differently, or in some way some other people could feel like you've changed and they could feel a little backstabbed. And regardless of what has gone on in people's lives, high vibe people kind of put in work and effort to not keep staying in their ego about it and feeling backstabbed, because we do have to deal with the truth. And the truth is, we change over time. Other people change over time. Sometimes we see things about people that we weren't seeing before. Sometimes once we kind of get on our feet and we've kind of went through a phase of life with people, then how we want to move forward in life could be different, because we could have been beneficial to each other in being maybe loving and nurturing and supportive and encouraging to feel more stable and grounded within ourselves. But then once we kind of both are ready to move forward in life a little differently, that's when we see that kind of what drives and motivates us and what we think is just and fair as we move forward and what our truth is different. So high vibe people do this work within themselves to work through their inner conflict and mental conflict. They offer love to the situation with the Ace of Cups to be able to work through it, kind of get to a place where I accept that everybody is where they're at. And if people were more shadowy or hurtful or unkind or manipulative or backstabbing or immature, I'm going to accept the truth of that. And that can be hard to deal with because that's not how I viewed them. But maybe I wasn't seeing them clearly, and Pisces energy can talk about, we can have these illusions about who people are, and maybe we weren't seeing them clearly. And maybe some people were more immature and more competitive and more about themselves than we realize. Maybe some people do like to be more indulged in a relationship, and we maybe didn't feel like we were indulging them. We were just putting work and effort into a relationship. But if it was more you putting in more of the work and effort and to make the relationship work and be balanced, you were kind of more the one. If it wasn't equal give and take, you were the one kind of more indulging them and putting in work and effort. And then when you could get kind of tired of being the one who puts more work and effort, and I want it to be a more balanced relationship, and maybe if I don't see that it seems more balanced, then, I don't know that I want to keep investing in it, because maybe I got to see that I don't think, the Knight of Swords is sent by the King and Queen of Swords, and the King and Queen of Swords can be about what we think is just and fair and our idea of how we wanted this to move forward and what our truth is and what we think their truth is. And sometimes we feel like then, we are moving forward in life differently. And then we might decide that, you know, maybe I'm going to move on and maintain balance within myself. And if they decide they want to put in more work and effort to make the relationship work, they can choose to do that if they want. I would maybe be open to it, but if it's going to be the way it was, and I could have started to have some inner conflict about if it really was just and fair, or everybody putting in work and effort, or if I felt people were being more manipulative, and then sometimes when in the King of Swords over here, where we listen to our intuition is telling us, I think some of these people are being a little immature, or a little wanting to be more about themselves, or a little manipulative, or a little bossy, or controlling, or hurtful, or unkind. I'm not going to keep indulging them more in their ego and putting in more of the work and effort. And I might, again, to get the justice I deserve, just kind of move on, listen to my intuition, maintain balance. And as time goes by, if we see that other people aren't kind of putting in that work and effort, we could kind of see that they were willing to let it go. And sometimes when people, the Five of Swords and the Five of Wands can be that people are being argumentative, people are being competitive, or hurtful, or unkind in some way. Sometimes it is because they want the relationship to end, but they don't want to come out and say it. And it is kind of hoping maybe some other people will leave because they could know too that you're kind of going in different directions and have different ways of viewing life. And that's not how they view life. And it can cause them inner conflict to be around people maybe who kind of view life a little differently, because it kind of challenges their perspective, and that could maybe challenge them to think about how they live their life and why they make the decisions they make. And instead of dealing with those issues, it might be, I'd just rather have you leave, and then I don't have to deal with it, because I don't have anyone around me who does kind of make me question why I do what I do, and why I think certain things are just and fair. And I'd rather just hang out with people who are kind of more on the same page as me. And then none of us kind of question why we think the way we think, or do what we do. And we can go back to living our life the way we like to live it, and you can go live your life the way you want to live it. And I think high vibe people try to maintain balance with people, but if they're offering people truth and love and being authentic, and other people seem, now they've just learned that when other people show me from the beginning that they have inner conflict or mental conflict about being more open, or more authentic, or more warm, or more loving, or more encouraging, or putting in work and effort, I just, yeah, no, I'm not gonna get myself tangled up in that anymore. It's like, okay, I deal with the truth, not gonna get my ego about it. You're you, I wish you peace. And I'm gonna keep, not with the Ten of Swords, I'm not gonna be in my ego about it. I just deal with the truth. I offer people truth and love to work with them cooperatively. And if that's not where they're at, I wish them peace, and I move on to go find people in the world and work with the people in my life who do work together with me, and keep moving forward, being inspired by justice, keep going with the flow, keep listening to my intuition about who seems to be more balanced, more just and fair. I listen to my intuition about who seems to maybe not operate from that foundation. And I've already learned my dreams can't come into reality with people who aren't wanting to work together with me more from a just and fair and balanced and loving way. And so, where before it could have really gotten in my ego, it really could have caused me inner conflict. Like, why don't those people work together with me? Why don't those people seem to like me or whatever? And sometimes that's what shadowy people are counting on. They only want to work with people they can manipulate or control, or they don't want to be in a more just and fair and authentic relationship. I only want to be in a relationship with you if I can act in these ways. And if you haven't learned to stand up for yourself and love yourself enough, perfect, then let's do the relationship the way I want to do it. And I was like, I'm going to quit. I'm going to offer people truth and love, but I'm not going to try to change people anymore. In the fives can talk about change. I'm not going to try to change people anymore. If you show me the kind of person you are, I'm going to accept the truth of it. I'm going to wish you peace, and I'm going to take that truth with me. You know, if you ever quit being in that energy and you want to come talk to me about it, I will listen to my intuition about it. And for those of us where we also had our growing up to do, our maturing to do, we were repeating old patterns, we maybe hadn't learned to love ourselves, weren't balanced within ourselves, we're in more codependent energy. When you go have learned those lessons, you're not in your ego anymore, and you're willing to tell people the truth that, you know, I had some lessons to learn. And then you communicate your truth to people. And if those people, if their intuition tells them that you're telling the truth, just like at some future date, if some people were to communicate with you, I was in my ego, I was this, I was that, and you feel like you are more on the same page now, you could be willing to, you know, decide to move forward with some people in friendship or relationships. Doesn't have to be the same way or degree to what it was before. But yeah, if people have worked through their inner conflict, gotten out of their whatever it is to have that more hopeful, believing spirit, no longer kind of more defensive or whatever, and seem to be balanced and truthful and honest, well, then, yeah, you'd be willing to move forward with them, and you could have people in your life that are willing to. And if not, you that's the thing, there are consequences for our actions. And you know, there can be people in the world that we're going to meet as we move forward, and some of them are in our life right now. And as some of those people get to know us and we get to know them, you know, it could be, hey, I think this is someone that my intuition tells me is not more about themselves, not more about the ego or the image or being in relationships for those reasons, that I think they're an authentic, loving person who is emotionally mature and self-insightful and puts in work and effort to be more just and fair and authentic in a relationship. Then you could have new beginnings with those people. So, what's coming up for people who harness some high vibe Pisces energy that they might not see coming? The Knight of Swords, the Five of Pentacles, and the Chariot. And the reason is because of the World card. So, the World card can talk about closing out a cycle. Because you were willing, in your Virgo nature of self, to put in this work and effort to kind of pick up your investment in some old ways of being or thinking or living life. And you put in work and effort to, Sagittarius is about higher learning and education. You were inspired to work through your own mental conflict and inner conflict you could have had about loving and believing in yourself and being more confident within yourself, and to have new beginnings in your life or just be more authentically yourself. And then you closed out a cycle in your life. Something that you used to was a truth, or a way you used to look at life that you thought was more just and fair, people you might have viewed at one time as being more just and fair, you've kind of worked through that, and you kind of see through it, and you just don't kind of think that way anymore. So the World card talks about closing out a cycle. And part of this process could have been to get you to stand up for yourself and what you think is just and fair. Because if there's people in your life if they're more shadowy and they're being more immature or manipulative or bossy or controlling or hurtful or unkind, they're kind of standing up for their truth in their own way, by how they choose to act. And you're going to stand up for your truth. And then in the Five of Swords, the Five of Swords moves away from the Four, or the Five of Pentacles moves away from the Four of Pentacles. There was a foundation or a way of living life that you had been holding on to, and it could have just been a phase of life that you were at. But you've kind of worked through that. It could feel like it's stopping you from moving forward, getting the justice you deserve. And so you're willing to deal with the truth of it and see the truth again of what you need to let go of and what you need to hold on to, and invest in moving forward in Cancer energy, getting in the driver's seat of your own life, loving yourself, believing in yourself, maintaining balance within yourself to go get the justice you deserve. And knowing there's certain ways of living life or viewing life and kind of relationship dynamics that other people can think is just and fair. And it's like, no, I don't think that's just and fair. And I'm detaching from you because I don't think that's loving. And I don't think it's just and fair. And it makes me feel left out in the cold. And I feel like it's lacking in abundance. And it could be lacking in abundance of self-awareness, self-insight, healing, maturity, truth, love. And I'm inspired by those things, and you maybe don't seem to be inspired by those things. So I wish you peace, and I'm moving on. And then I think as you move forward in that energy, other people see that you aren't repeating old patterns, that you are speaking the truth, that you are moving forward in a just and fair and balanced, creative, inspired, loving way. And I think there's other people that are going to want to, and people in your life that are currently kind of defending you just like you're defending them, and other people who will see you as, someone who's aligned with their truth that they want to move forward and work with, and that they're going to close out some of ways of being and people that they used to hang out with or whatever, because it doesn't move forward in an emotionally balanced, loving way where people are willing to get out of their ego and deal with their inner conflict or their competitive nature or their immature nature or their worldly nature or their lust or their greed or their codependent nature. And it's like, I don't want to repeat that pattern. And if that's where you're at, hey, I've been there, I understand. I wish you peace, but I'm not going to move forward with you in a more involved relationship with you being in that energy, because I've already been there and I've already done that. And some of those people will kind of put an end to their defensiveness and speak the truth that they do want to move forward with you in that way. And some people won't. Some people won't communicate with you in the Ten of Swords and the Knight of Swords. And the whole thing is to see the truth. If people were motivated and inspired to move forward in that type of relationship, they would. And some of them, we have to see the truth, are moving forward in that type of relationship, just not with us. And we need to see the truth of that too. And it's like, okay, well, the divine must have a different plan for my life. Maybe they're just a good role model or a good example. And then there's other people in my life that I could feel aren't speaking the truth, aren't being just and fair, or just want to live their life differently. And they have the free will to live their life the way they want. And again, in the Ten of Swords to the Queen of Wands, I'm not going to be in my ego about it. I see the truth. I accept the truth. Enjoy your life. I'm moving on. Because if I want these things of the world, I can only, these things I want to manifest in the world, I have to detach from that old way of looking at life or viewing life or waiting for other people to heal or grow or mature themselves. I am losing kind of momentum maybe in my life. I'm going to still just take action in truth and love and justice and fairness. But yeah, if people have already shown me this isn't their truth, I'm probably going to quit, communicating with them as much as I had before. And for some, the communication has come to a halt and there is no more investment. And they've kind of shown what their truth is and what they want to invest their time, energy, and effort into. And it's not how I want to move forward. So I accept the truth of it and I move on. And the Chariot talks about the truth will move forward victoriously over people in more worldly energy. People in more worldly energy could be more about themselves or the ego or the image, and they're kind of going about it in a more shadowy way. And they might get all those things of the world, but it won't be with people, not at least some of the people in their life who were more just and fair and authentic and loving, who wanted to move forward with them, because those people saw the truth that they were maybe more in their Virgo energy and their Leo energy and their Pisces energy, just kind of more caught up in the world or themselves or the ego or the image or the indulgence. And that some high vibe people felt was the more driving factor in their life than love. And that wasn't the truth for the high vibe people. It's like, that's not why I want to be in a relationship, stay in a relationship, or get in a relationship. And that might be why some of those people do all those things. And it's not because of love. It's more out of lust or greed or pride or ego or codependency or image or status or materialism. And it's like, well, enjoy your life. I can't live my life and stay in a relationship for those reasons. What's coming up for people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Pisces energy that they might not see coming up? The high vibe people have learned a lesson and they're moving forward in the next phase of life. The truth sets us free to go to the next phase of life. Otherwise, we keep repeating an old pattern because we can't authentically move to the next phase of life. We can try to fake that we're more stable, grounded, and mature than we are. And maybe by our status or our image or our power or our social clout. But they're really kind of still operating from an old viewpoint of life in a way that other people have moved on from. What's coming up for them that they might not see coming? The Nine of Pentacles. Why? Because of the King, the Emperor, and the Two of Wands. Well, anytime someone is being a little more in shadowy energy, which could be bossy or controlling or manipulative or trying to use their looks or their charm or their money or whatever to try to keep people in a relationship with them. If they have people in their life who harness high vibe Virgo energy that are more balanced within themselves, know their worth and value, believe in themselves, are more independent of their more worldly, egoic nature, some of those people have wanted to be in a relationship with these people. You know, in the fire sign energy, they could have been attracted to them. And in the Two of Wands, they had a dream they wanted to have come into reality. Some of the people in their life wanted them to become more independent or more stable within themselves. And eventually some of the high vibe people in their life just see the truth. You keep having this way of living life and viewing life that you are unwilling to put an end to move forward, maybe in a more balanced way, a more just and fair way, a more emotionally mature way. You either indulge your more immature, indulgent nature, or being more about the world, or you, or money, or materialism, or something, or your competitive nature, or your fearful nature, or your defensive nature. Then eventually some of the high vibe people in their life are going to see the truth that their dream can't come into reality with them. And they're going to do this work within themselves. That if I want the justice I deserve and to have my dream come into reality, I need to do this work within myself to see the truth about why I stay in this relationship. And we can all have mental conflict about letting go of people. We've already put work and effort into it. Emotionally, we could have love for them. There's a lot of things about it we like, and we can all be tempted in our more worldly, egoic nature and being attracted to people. But, if we feel left out in the cold from love, if we feel like nothing ever changes, justice never comes to the situation, people aren't maybe being just and fair, eventually some other people in their life are going to turn their back to them. And they're going to go take this action to stand up for themselves and what they believe in and detach and call judgment on these people. And people who can be loving and encouraging in our life, eventually they can be like, you know what? I'm not going to kind of again be up in my head about it. You do you. You're going to have to learn some hard lessons just like we all did. And I'm going to let you do you. And I'm going to move forward and see you at Christmas or whatever. Wish you peace and love. But am I going to invest more time and energy into you? No. You do you. And you're going to have to learn some lessons the hard way. And some of them might not see that coming because if they have loving and encouraging people in their life, those people wanted them to heal or grow or mature themselves or work through their fear or insecurities. But they have to be inspired to want to do that within themselves. And some of those people don't want to. It's like, no, I want to be like more codependent, and you're supposed to play that role in my life. And that's stopping you from getting the justice you deserve because you're not in a relationship with someone who's willing to do that work within themselves to be more independent and inspired to have hope and faith and belief in themselves and in their dreams and in love and in other people. No, I want to stay in my fear or my insecurity or my immature ways or my bossy ways or my manipulative ways, and you're just supposed to love me. And that would be a codependent relationship, like a parent with a child. And it's like, I don't want to be in a relationship with people who are like a child. I want to be in relationships with people who have worked through those issues to be more independent of them. And some of these people are not very emotionally independent at all. And yet they could think, maybe because they have a certain status or image or power, or influence or social cloud or whatever, that they think because of that, other people should indulge them in their poor behavior. And other people are like, you know what, you can have your things of the world. I'll take my one pentacle and I'll leave. And you can do this and act like that or think like that with someone else you're in a relationship with. And eventually, the people that they will have probably in their life are other people. Oh, I guess it went like this. Other people who in their fire sign energy who are more motivated to be in a relationship like this, because that could be their truth also. More inspired by the world, maybe wanting to stay single, not bring justice to the situation. No, I have mental conflict and fear about love. I don't trust people, but so long as you're willing to stay in a relationship with me, I'll stay in a relationship with you. I don't want to bring justice to the situation. You don't want to bring justice to the situation because we lack hope and faith and belief and love. But I want to be in a relationship. You want to be in a relationship. So long as it kind of works out, we've got someone to be in a relationship with, maybe sexually, and for the status or the ego or the image or the money or the stability, yeah, I'll be in a relationship with you. And both people, there could be conflict and fighting in the relationship because both people have fear of love. Both people could have fear that people are only in the relationship with them for these ulterior purposes. But they have ulterior purposes. Shadowy, both the Two of Wands and the Emperor, Aries energy, anyone, regardless of what zodiac sun sign they are, they can be a little bit more about themselves and don't like to maybe freely give of themselves and like to work together with people, but they could have inner conflict of being more authentic and loving and vulnerable, but they like to be in relationships, but they just don't want to kind of want to ignore the truth in a way that of why they're in it. And it can be, well, it works for me. And it may be really, could I be attracted to them? Could I like them? Yeah, but everybody could be more about themselves. Everybody could be a little bossy and controlling. Everybody could be kind of competitive. Because if you're not really in it for love or trust love, people could definitely try to control each other. And some shadowy people, they like to be in a relationship with someone they think they can control. And if they have more status or image or money or social clout than other people, and the other person doesn't have as much, male or female, that is the kind of relationship dynamic they like to be in. Because then it's just kind of they feel more about them. But eventually some people in their life, initially might not want to see the truth of it, but eventually some of the people in their life might be like, I've kind of realized the truth that it is kind of more about you, and that might be why you have the viewpoints that you have. And I don't want to stay in a relationship with someone where it's just more about them and more about these other reasons, and some of those people will leave. And some of them, which they might, if they want to be single, and shadowy Sagittarius can be being kind of like a player in the world, male or female, they could end up finding out that being single, and they might really not like that. But if they do have these shadowy ways of being, or they want to just be able to indulge in a relationship, eventually other people in the area or community could kind of know that that's how they are. They could get loving, nurturing people in relationship with them. Those people think they're these more people because they maybe give the impression that they're willing to kind of be more, bring justice to the situation, but it never happens. And so then other people realize, I think they just want to kind of indulge themselves in relationships without maybe really being more authentic, more just and fair, more truthful. It's just really more about them. And there's going to be other people that are like, I'm okay with that. I'll stay in a relationship with you. And then that would be a more just and fair relationship. They might not like it because then they are in a relationship with someone who's more like them, who could be more about themselves, who could be more about their wants and needs and lust and greed and don't want to bring justice to the situation and is more manipulative and is like, oh my God, then they could be tempted to want to become single from it. But if it has these things of the world and they think these other people won't leave either, then they might stay in it, just maybe hiding that they'd really rather end it. But because of the status, the ego, the image, the social clout, the power, the codependency, both inner conflict of having hope and faith and belief in a new beginning or in love or loving themselves, they'll stay in it. And everybody kind of in the judgment card reaps what they sow in a way. So there you go, Pisces. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.